All right, let's try a little thought experiment, one that's kind of fascinating, but also, honestly, pretty unsettling. We're going to explore what would actually happen to our world if our closest neighbor in space just disappeared. So, I want you to imagine this. You walk outside tonight, right? You look up, expecting to see that big, familiar rock in the sky, but it's just not there. No big bang, no warning, it's simply gone. At first, things might seem peaceful, almost strangely quiet. The nights would be pitch black, sure, but the stars would look incredible. But here's the thing, you can't be fooled by that. Because that quiet, that's the calm before the storm. Within just a few hours, the systems that run our entire planet would start to, well, unravel. So to really get why this is such a big deal, we have to talk about what the moon actually does. It's got this hidden job, you could say. It's like our planet's invisible engineer. Yeah, think about that, an invisible engineer. For 4.5 billion years, ever since it was formed in this colossal impact, the moon has been quietly pulling the levers, tuning the dials, basically running the background operations that make life here possible. It's the silent partner we've just always taken for granted. Okay, so what's the first domino to fall? Well, you'd feel it in the oceans. The first 24 hours would be all about absolute chaos in the tides. And you can really see the scale of the problem here. The moon's gravity is the main driver of our tides, right? It's responsible for about two-thirds of that pull. So without it, the tides don't just stop completely. The sun still has a little bit of influence, but they'd shrink down to just a third of what they are now. The oceans will become weirdly, unnervingly still. And that's where the domino effect really kicks in. Weak tides are a straight-up catastrophe. All those coastal ecosystems, mangroves, coral reefs, they rely on that daily ebb and flow. They'd start to collapse. But even bigger than that, tides are like the planet's giant whisk. They mix the oceans. Without that constant churning, nutrients just sit there, oxygen levels tank, and the whole marine food chain just breaks down, starting from the very bottom. So what does that mean for us? Well, the consequences are immediate and very real. The global seafood industry, gone, just gone. Millions of species would be staring extinction right in the face. All because the engine that drives the ocean just died. Okay, so the oceans are a mess. But let's look up at the sky again. Because the effects of a missing moon go way beyond just the physical. They hit us biologically, even culturally. I mean, what does happen when the only natural nightlight we've ever known just gets switched off permanently? Think about it. Life on Earth has evolved with the moon's faint glow for eons. You've got nocturnal predators that literally depend on that bit of light to hunt. They'd be lost. Then you have prey animals that use moon phases as a cue for survival. That instinct would just vanish. And what about us? For thousands of years, ancient cultures all over the world used the moon as their clock and their calendar. Without it, a huge chunk of human history and culture just wouldn't have happened. All right, so we've got ecological disaster and cultural loss. But that's just the warm-up. Now we get to the main event, the truly existential threat. Because without the moon, Earth literally loses its balance. It starts to wobble, and not just a little bit. Take a look at this number, 23.5 degrees. That might not seem like much, but it's everything. That's Earth's axial tilt, and it's the sole reason we have predictable seasons. You could argue it's one of the most important numbers for the existence of life on this planet. And guess what holds it so steady? Yep, the moon's gravity. And hey, if you need proof of what happens when a planet doesn't have a big moon to hold it steady, just look next door at Mars. The difference is, well, it's night and day. Mars has a totally unstable tilt. It wobbles all over the place, which has led to these insane, wild climate swings throughout its history. In fact, a lot of scientists think that's a huge reason it couldn't hang on to life. And without our moon, Earth would be heading down that exact same road. We're talking about our planet's tilt eventually swinging wildly. It could go to 0 degrees, which means no seasons whatsoever. Or it could swing to a crazy 85 degrees. Can you even imagine that? An 85-degree tilt would mean the poles get summers hot enough to boil the oceans and winters so cold entire continents would freeze solid. Our planet would become something else entirely, unrecognizable. And that great wobble, that's what triggers the final act, a total, complete climate collapse. Earth becomes a world of nothing but violent extremes. And the path to that collapse is this terrifying chain reaction. First, that tilt starts to drift.
Then our climate zones go completely haywire. Imagine the Sahara Desert turning into a frozen ice cap, or the Amazon rainforest becoming a barren desert. Storms would become monsters, unbelievably violent and totally unpredictable. The final nail in the coffin? Global agriculture fails completely. Everything we rely on to survive just collapses.
And get this, here's one more effect that's kind of subtle but is absolutely mind-blowing when you think about it. The moon has been acting like a brake on our planet's spin for billions of years. Billions of years ago, a day on Earth was only about 6 hours long. It's the moon's pull that slowed us down and stretched our day to the 24 hours we're used to. You take that break away, and the very physics of our day-to-day existence changes.
So you see, this isn't some big, flashy Hollywood disaster with a giant explosion. No, it's a slow, quiet end, just a relentless slide into chaos, which leads to the final, chilling question. Could anything actually survive all this? Well, the answer is a bit complicated. It's not like all life would just get wiped out in an instant. Down in the deep ocean, some creatures, totally shielded from the surface chaos, might not even notice. And you can bet some simple, hardy organisms would find a way to adapt. But for complex life, for us, for mammals, birds, all the intricate ecosystems on land, over the long haul, mass extinction becomes pretty much inevitable. So what's the takeaway here? The moon isn't just some pretty decoration in the night sky. It's not just for poets and songwriters. It is an active, vital part of our planet's machinery. It's our stabilizer. It's our regulator. It's been our silent guardian for 4.5 billion years.
And that's really what it all boils down to. The next time you're outside at night and you see that familiar glow up there, maybe you'll see it a little differently. Because as it turns out, sometimes the most important things in the universe, the things literally holding our world together, are the ones we barely even notice.